who's here on a Wednesday? Oh my God, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. But I was so out of it this past weekend. I said, "Oh, I need to make it up to these folks," because I disappeared into a hole on Saturday and Sunday and was nowhere to be found. So I think I did post about why. But anyway, I wanted, I've kind of moved on past that. It is what it is. And you can't change stuff, so you just kind of deal with it. But what I wanted to talk about, well, actually, I have another intro. You don't have to always talk about something before we get into the subject because that's just how I am. I just have so many words. I just want to say so many things. But I do want to say that I decided that I'm going to start this series. I don't know if there'll be any regularity to it, just as the mood hits me, because there will be discussion about dating and relationships and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I started my website with and everything. But I since I have so much knowledge and professional experience and family experience and just life experience at this point, from being old to sin, then you have an ability to respond to other types of questions and delve into other issues. And one of the things I wanted to do, because I noticed so many young women who visit here don't seem to have a very strong sense of themselves. They're looking for validation from outside themselves. Their self esteem is in the toilet or underground or snail level or something. They really are, they're very needy and extremely insecure. And that kind of, when you lack belief in yourself and who you are, your skills and talents and skills as a person, and your confidence and beauty as a woman, then you're kind of gonna be at the whim of a lot of these predatory kind of folks. And there's men that are predators as well as women. So I'm not just talking about the guys. So there has to be some lessons taught to young ladies about being their be who it is that you're supposed to be. Now, I'm not going to decide who you're supposed to be. That's going to be on you. My role is to help you get there. So, part of that is to help you figure out where you fit into the world, where's your place, what are you here for, what are you doing. Now, a lot of people, they look to religion for those things. As you all know, I am not a fan of religion. I don't see where it strengthens people. I think it weakens people because it makes them dependent on something outside of themselves, and this outside force. And you can still have those beliefs. I'm not telling you what to believe, but I'm here to work on yourself so that when no matter where you go, you feel whole and confident, and like you can handle whatever comes your way because you believe in yourself. You know that you can do it. You got this. Okay, that's what I'm working on you with. And sometimes I think as people grow stronger in that belief, in themselves, they don't look so much for outside. They don't look for people to tell them what to do and how to think and how to be and what to wear and what to believe. They believe in themselves and their ability to achieve their dreams, make all their wishes come true, to make the vision that they have of themselves of being successful in life, no matter what that means to you, for that to happen, those kind of things. That's what I'm talking about. You got to believe that you can do it. You got to believe that even if you make a mistake, you got the strength to get up and keep it moving. Okay, told you guys the other day, I've been knocked down plenty of times. Has it stopped me? No. I mean, sometimes the knockdown was like physical, like a car accident. Or I got pushed down some stairs one time at work. It was an accident. This girl running in the hallways at the law firm for some unknown, still can't think of a reason to do that. But I was at the top of the staircase. She ran into me. I went flying down these, law firms have marble staircases. And when I woke up, I was in like a cage thing with a strap across here, a strap across here, a strap across there, dislocated shoulder, broken collarbone, jacked up arm. I've had so many surgeries on this arm right here. And so that you take some hits, along the way. But did I let it stop me? No. The physical therapist, when the doctors was like, "Oh no, you'll never be able to lift your arm above your, like waist level. You'll, this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, oh, right. You don't know me. Okay, you know, you could tell that to somebody who's gonna believe that bullshit. I don't believe nothing because I know I know who I am, and I know there's no way in this world I'm gonna let this stop me from having full use of my arm. And I did physical therapy by myself. I didn't need them to tell. I looked the shit up, and I found out what I needed to do, and I did it. Plus, I did physical therapy, medically prescribed. So this is Deborah's arm today. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I go to the gym, I lift weights, I do every fucking thing I want to do with the arm that they told me I would totally lose full range of motion in. So, I use that as a story. I like to use myself as a story to show you that where there is a will, there is a way. Okay? You can do this. Yeah, I was fucked up. I mean, I could tell you, I got so many surgeries in this arm. It's got a big old scar like right here. And I got one on my elbow. Had to have surgery here because it got damaged in the fall too. So that's what I tell you guys. I've been through some shit. But I don't use that as an excuse for anything. Yeah, it happened. I dealt with it. I got over it. I moved the fuck on, and I did. And, it was a curveball for sure. It slowed me down for years. I couldn't do what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it. But as soon as I could, I got right back up on the horse and I started rode out. Okay, and that's why I'm here today, and that's why I can tell you everything that I tell you guys with such confidence because I've lived it. Okay, I'm not just talking some esoteric, read it in a book shit. I'm telling you what I know for a fact. You have to believe in yourself more than anybody else, and you cannot listen to other people that tell you you can't do it, that you're gonna fail, that you're not smart enough, that you're not good enough, that the doctor said this and that, and your mama said this and that, and your man said this and that. Fuck all of them. You don't listen to them. You listen to yourself, because you gonna be the only one in your body. You're gonna be the only one reaping those benefits. Any suffering to be happening, you're gonna be the only one doing that too. But so, that's my little introduction. But honey, let me tell you, you have to be strong. You can't. I mean, you know what happens to weak people? They on the whole stroll. That's what happens to them, or they in some graveyard, them damn where. You have to, or they like it's some mental institution or some shit because they just gave up. You let shit that comes at you take over your mind and take over your body and take over your life without you fighting back. You can't let people treat you like that. You can't let people just shit on you like that. And the people that let people shit on because they're so dependent upon those people's opinion of them. And so when those people yank their opinion out or start telling them you ain't shit. Remember the letter yesterday where the girls with the boyfriend, he's like, well, I'm gonna teach you this and that. He was trying to position himself to be that person in her world, to be able to tell her what she was could do well and could not do well. So if she followed that, and luckily she had the sense to write me, but had she just gone along with his program, she would be one of those kind of women I'm talking about on the whole stroll trying to figure out what the fuck happened. So I want to say though, hey, look, hey, my little popcorn is here. That girl, I'll tell you, that is a dedic. Okay, in case you don't know, she is in France. She sets her alarm to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be here on this live stream. I have some. I got some dedicated folks. Van is here. She be here at every time she can think of. Lady Boss be up here. Alicia be up in here. Who else I see? I see Lady STL. She be up in here. Zara, she be here as much as she can. I see her name, here and there. But I'm telling you, it's like so many people that are just so dedicated and supporting this vision, and they're not just here for me, they're here for all of you new people that come too, that ask questions and want support, because I can't do everything at the same time. So I'm talking and they're responding to what you write as best they can. If they need to get my attention, then they do. But this is a strong crew right here. They got this. So I don't really, since these ladies have showed up in my streams, I've been a lot calmer and my streams have been a lot better and a lot more focused because they handle some of the stuff that I was trying to do, everything, and I was getting distracted. But since they shown up, they are like the best people, and I haven't even met them, but they are just the best. I just want to give you guys, your props, your dap, because you deserve it. I'm telling you, and Lacey too. Lacey shows up a lot. So, just for everyone who's new and who didn't know that, don't hesitate to, if you had not sure about something that goes on around here, ask them. But let me start by talking about something. Brought this to my attention. It was about this guy that proposed with 6 rings. Have you heard about that? Dude had this giant heart-shaped box and it had 6 rings in it. He's like a pear-shaped, round, a square, teardrop or something. I mean, he had like all the different shapes of diamonds, and these suckers was huge. I mean, I'm not talking about no little chip ass, but what you call it, crackerjack box kind of ring. He had some big ass, you could see it from Mars kind of rings. And so, girlfriend, it was this whole thing. I mean, they had a photographer, and he got like a stylist to style up the area and everything. I was gonna put the pictures up, but I'm on CP time since I decided to do this show at the last minute. But I was so impressed with him. He's only 32, and this all happened down in Florida at the penthouse at Riverside Wharf in Miami, Florida. He is a model now, and evidently he had been drafted into the pro football, but they never actually. I mean, he had a contract, but they never actually played him or something. I mean, something happened, so we don't really know about him. So he's not in football anymore. He's doing something else. But he is doing. He is a model, and the woman that he proposed to, because people always want to talk about this colorism stuff. This is a chocolate sister. She's gorgeous. She has a business evidently in health or promotion or something. And he got down on his one knee and he did on the whole thing. And she chose the one that she liked, which was like the teardrop shape. And I wish I had pictures to show you guys. I mean, I do have them. I downloaded them and I was going to put them on slides, but I didn't get it back in time. So there you go. That's that. And I thought that it was really interesting that he did. I mean, he made like the whole setting. He put a lot of work into it, and that's what I want women to understand too. This is part of what I'm talking about. When you have somebody that's on your team, and somebody who believes in you, and somebody who wants to be a part of what you're trying to do, they're going to be there for you in a way that is like it's just awesome. So this guy proposing to this woman, he wanted it to be so memorable that she would never ever forget it. And when guys put that kind of work into impressing you and making a mark not only on your heart but on your mind, where are you going? Where are you going? You ain't going nowhere. And you know you ain't going nowhere. Let's don't even front about that. But it's like so many dudes are so afraid to put themselves out there like that. It's just kind of weird. It's like they're looking for outside themselves, looking for approval from other men, and so the other guys and they were on Twitter, right? They was just dragging dude. Oh, some of the women were dragging him too. One of the ladies like, well, I don't see why he's got to have 6 rings because the fact that he has 6 rings, that shows that he doesn't know me very well because he would know what I like. Okay, that made a lot of assumptions because I mean maybe if he'd been dating a woman for a long time and they've looked at different jewelry, well maybe she liked different shapes of jewelry. See, the woman on Twitter didn't even take into consideration. So if the woman like a heart shaped necklace and then she liked square earrings and then she liked this other ring that was the teardrop shape and then she liked the teardrop, or star shaped diamond necklace. I mean, you know what I mean? Over years, if you're a person who's into jewelry, you're gonna like a whole bunch of different stuff. That would be if I was a dude, I would have done just what he did, or I might have even just said, "Listen, I want to, get you a ring," or ask somebody in her family to kind of feel her out and see what she like look at some pictures on the sly or something. But you have to either really do some investigation work to understand what somebody wants to wear for months and months or a year or two on their finger versus what they just might like on some general, level. And I think he did a bang up job. Oh, you will find the video? Okay. So there you go. But I thought it was fabulous. And then I read this and then wait, let me see if I can find some of these tweets that these evil ass heifers was talking about cuz I printed them out. You know me. I want the evidence. Okay, here's one. This is the one I was talking about. She said, if a man proposes with 6 wings, is he's indecisive himself, she said, not himself, himself, or he doesn't know me well. Either way, it's a flag. Another one says, call me old fashioned, but I feel like if the guy's proposing, he should know you well enough to pick a ring for you. He picked 6 that she liked. She just picked the one that she liked the best, okay? And this one says, this other woman, I don't think I would want a man propose to me with six rings. You should know what I like by the time you propose to me because knowing me, I probably thrown out plenty of hints. And but so then other people like this other guy, he said, that was a good job. This other one says she wants to be proposed to like that because she needs some of that energy. So I mean, a lot of people were very positive, but a lot of the brothers just dragged him. Like, man, you a simp, you a wimp. What's wrong with you? All this kind of stuff. I was like, wow. But he did what he needed to do to please his lady. Okay, he didn't want to think about no nignogs or these miscellaneous stray heifers on Twitter. He was talking. He did what she liked, and she liked the six rings. Okay, so that's all it needs to matter. The rest of us can appreciate it from afar. And I thought it was just unique and brilliant. And then he took the other one back. And some woman's like, well, he gonna propose to me with six rings. I want all six rings because I'm worth it. I'm thinking, bitch, no, your ass is not. You tripping. So to be walking around with you got one finger to wear a ring on. What the fuck you need six engagement rings for? That didn't even make any sense. Talking about I'm worth it. I'm like, what? Where they do that at? Oh, and by the way, I have more wine today. I didn't finish mine from yesterday, so this is the second half of the bottle. All right. So now let's start talking about purpose, which is what everybody is here for. Why do some women think that men should be mind readers? I don't know. That is an excellent question because that kind of mindset sets men up for failure. It sets your relationship up for failure, and it means that you're constantly looking for him to know something that you haven't communicated. So, that's bad communication style. Men are kind of dense. Like I said, now you talking about somebody magically knowing something, and this is the person who opens the refrigerator and can't find the mustard that's right there behind the mayo. Okay, that's what you're talking about. And you're expecting this kind of person, the person who can watch TV but can't hear a conversation and watch TV at the same time, you're expecting them to magically, figure all of this out. So that's what I'm saying. Women set themselves up sometimes for disappointments. That was a great question, Van. Very timely. And if the women like to hint and they want to play songs and they want to leave pictures around and stuff. The guy, he's probably thinking about whatever he's thinking about. He's thinking about sports scores or something, or some project he got at work. He's probably not even listening to your song that you plan to try to give him a hint about something, and then you leave these pictures around. Well, that's where he want to put his beer mug and his six pack. So he flings your shit to the side and sits his stuff down and never looks at it. So now you all disappointed and wonder why he don't know, and you left all these hints, and you mad, and you complain to your friends, and he just a motherfucker, and he's all this. And dude is like, what are you talking about? If that's what you wanted, why didn't you just tell me? I would happily give it for you. I love you, baby. I want to give you what you want. But you just like, now you mad and pouting and stuff because he's not like, he don't have a clue what you talking about. Oh my God, ladies, come on. Don't do that to dudes. Now, it's one thing if you tell them clearly, when I like, but when we go out to dinner, I don't want to go to some place that's smelly or some hole in the wall where they have seat holes and tape on the seat. I like to be in a nice restaurant. I like, blah, blah, blah. My idea of vacation is not in the cold, it's in a place warm. It's, you give him those kind of things. You don't have to give him all the instructions, but, that way he'll know. Don't try to take you on a cruise to Alaska, take you on a cruise to the Caribbean, and then it will be well received. The one to Alaska, not so much. So you have to give them some info. They want to please you. They don't want you to be mad at them. They want to get kissed on and cuddled up and smiled at and bragged about and all that kind of stuff. I don't know any man in love with a woman who wants to hurt her, not intentionally. So that's why you gotta just open your mouth, tell him what you want. All right, so now let's talk about purpose. This is going to be well, I guess officially it's the first video in the Live Your Best Life series that I'm going to start effective today. But one of the things I think that I've noticed, did you notice, and that's how this came up, when women get together, unless they're there for a specific purpose, like it's a marketing team meeting, or it's some kind of sorority is planning an event or something, or I mean, unless there's a specific focus to the meeting that's about business or an event or something like that, women will tend to gravitate towards talking about a they man, men, all of everybody's man, or B, their children, or C, a combination thereof. Have you ever noticed that? Now, I mean, that's okay, I guess, sometimes. But if every time you get together with your female friends, that's all y'all talk about is men and kids, um, what's going on with you? Where is your head? What are you doing? And I know that's a way that a lot of women bond with each other, because then they get into, yeah, mine does this, it get on my nerves. And, so everybody complaining and everything, and you feel this camaraderie because, everybody's complaining about the dumb shit that their man does and how he gets on their nerves. And, like I said, I'm not saying that that's not a good thing, because a lot of women let off steam that way, and it keeps their relationships and their marriages at an even keel, because instead of blowing up at him, she tells her girlfriends about it, then she lets all the steam out, and then they have a few drinks and laugh, and then they start talking about something else. Excuse me. But if that's all you talk about, that's all you think about. When you go places with other people, that's you have to get home. You can't stay out and do anything really interesting, because you got to go and do that. That's your whole world. And when you see women like that, it's like their man is their hobby. Have you ever thought about that? They don't do anything that doesn't have to do with him. Their lives revolve around the man and their kids. Now, that might be okay for some women, but okay, now what happens when your man, what should happen if you guys got a divorce? What should happen if you're like me and he died? What would happen if your kids all grow up and decide that they're gonna live in opposite parts, distant corners of the world, and they're not around to visit you all the time? What you gonna do with yourself? You've become nothing. You've just given everything to about yourself has been focused outside of yourself on other people. And now you're left alone, and you're left like an empty shell, because you haven't spent any time getting into your own heart and into your own head to figure out what brings you joy in life. What can you do for yourself that makes you feel whole and excited and loved and successful? And I mean, just like you just can't wait to do whatever this is again. Okay. Yeah, they don't. You're right. No identity. That's a perfect way to put it. They have given everything to other people. Their identity is solely that of wife and mother. Now that used to be all women could do. You know what I mean? That was our only options. And I mean, maybe you could, I don't know, something in the church. I mean, that's why they would be vie to be church mothers and all this stuff, because it gave them something else to do besides be a wife and a mother. Something in the, work at the post office in the town or something. I don't know what, whatever people did. But it was always something that had to do with being a wife or mother in this very insulated little capsule world. And we don't live in those times anymore, ladies. And your children are going to be, um, they're not, they're kind of on loan to us. They're not part of our lives forever. And you got to realize, your role is to prepare them for adulthood and then let them go. So somewhere in there, you have to realize that the person that you were before you had children and the person you're going to be after they leave the nest, you have to figure out who she is, and then you have to start working on her, and you got to work on her the whole time, because when you at your last breaths and stuff, you should have some feeling of satisfaction about what you have brought to the world. And that's the key to me. Of course, everybody here, you can disagree, but I think the key for people when they talk about what their purpose is, the people that have the strongest purpose and who seem to be the happiest, are people who focus on being there and giving to others. To me, that's our whole purpose for being here on this world, is to elevate others and to make the world a better place for other people. Now that, like I said, you take care of your kids when they're young, you got to take care of them. But there's a big world out there. Your kids are not the only people on this earth. Okay, so what are you doing outside of your home to help impact the world and make it a better place? For me, it's this. I've touched over these years, I don't know, probably several million people's lives. Some of it they probably want to kill my ass and beat my ass, but I've still touched them in some way. And for the most part, it's a good way because, why do I know that? Because people tell me. Now, when you people say like, well, I don't know how to find my purpose. What do I do? I don't know what steps to take. I don't know how to get started. I'm going to tell you. So get your pen and paper ready, or your tablet, or whatever you're going to use, and get that ready because I'm getting ready to give you some hints. And I want you to be able to write these down. And you don't have to do the exercise now, but these are just some things that I want you to think about. Now, what this exercise is about, getting into your own heart and figuring out what it is that you want to do to live a purposeful life. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of grandmas sit down to tell your friends about your man. But what my aunts used to do is they want to tell all the bad stuff. Because, a lot of women want to get in there talking about how good he is in bed and how he turned them out and this and that and all this old stuff. How much he buys them and out showing all the shit that the man gave them and the big house he put them in and the fancy car they driving and all this old stuff. A lot of women are jealous because they man ain't doing 1/10 of that for them. And the next thing you know, they want to, try to slide your house slippers away from the bed and put theirs there. So yeah, that's something to be careful of. But thank you. See, now I'm going to bring this up. This kind of stuff that people are saying, and how women always tell me that I, thousands. I wish I had met you earlier. I wish I had heard of you years ago. I wish I knew about you when, I was a teen in my early 20s, and whatever their thing is, they always say that, and then, express how much I've helped them. And that's one of the things I'm going to be going into, is what you hear back from people. And that's gonna be part of the homework. Okay, so now I typed it up this time. As I wrote it on scratch papers, back of receipts from the grocery store, and everything. I collected everything and then I typed it. Okay. Now, the first thing you need to understand is when we're talking about purpose, a lot of people, because I've done those things, they do those uh, aptitude tests and stuff. Like if you're looking for a job, you go to these employment counseling agency type things, and they do aptitude tests to figure out, what it is that you like to do and what you might be interested in. And then they give you like a profile of what kind of jobs that type of personality tends to fit well with, and blah, 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 all this stuff. Okay, but all those things are up here. Those are like what you think. When we're talking, what I do anyway, when I talk about someone finding their purpose, I'm talking about what's in your spirit, what's in your heart, what makes you just light up inside. Okay, so that's the approach that I'm taking. I'm not up here, I don't want you to do so much thinking, like, arguing with yourself. That's what people tend to do. Whatever it is that you first feel, that's the answer. And then what happens though is people start saying, well, no, I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't like that. That's wrong. That's not going to be, that. And they start shooting down what it is that their heart is telling them. Please don't do that. For this exercise, I mean, you can do that if you want to, you know what I mean? You've grown. But what I'm telling you is what I would like you to do for this exercise is not do that. Don't get up here. Stay here as best you can. Okay, as soon as you start, hitting yourself with the self doubt and the negations and the, well, but I don't know how I'm gonna do, how that gonna work. See, then you switch and you're up here now. Stay here for this. This is very important because if you really feel something, you can find a way to make it work. But you got to believe that you can. You got to feel it first. And once you feel it and accept that that's what you feel, then this is going to be gravy for you. Okay? First question. Have you ever been doing something or found something so engrossing that you forgot to eat, you forgot to drink water, you didn't pay no attention to your phone. Has you ever experienced anything like that? If the answer is no, write no. But if you felt that, yes, I remember that time, I felt blank when I was doing blank. That's what you write down. That's what's in my spirit too, Zara. So, I do all this stuff and everything. This this is what I'm supposed to be doing. There had to be a reason why I learned all that shit I started learning at a young age. I mean, what was I going to do with it by myself? I mean, just sit in my head and rot. So this is a way for me to get out that knowledge and share it with other people that need it. Okay, so that's you. Yeah, what's it? Yes, creativity does come from the heart. It absolutely does. So you gotta, what is it that you were so engrossed in, you were so involved, that you were so happy doing that you forgot to eat and you ignored your phone. You didn't even think about looking at it. Okay, write that down. Okay, writing and art. Somebody says, okay, okay, whatever it is, you put that down. Whatever. Okay, well, what? Don't just say working. What kind of work, Van? What were you doing? Okay, not just working. What was the work? What were you doing? Be more specific, and write down how you felt while you were doing it. Okay, because we this is strong, because this is just the first question. You're gonna be building on this as we go through these exercises. Every time someone told her it pushed her, oh, told her no, it pushed on her. Yeah, see, I'm like that too. When people tell me you can't do something, oh really? Fuck you. And then it's the next thing I move that up to my number one on my agenda to make sure I do it. Okay, now we move on to number two. Have you ever found something so exciting and you got so involved that you didn't even need sleep? I mean, the thought of stopping doing it to go and get you some sleep, even though you were tired, was irritating to you. You just didn't want to stop. Or you couldn't sleep even if you made yourself stop because your mind was still racing, right? You still like excited. The ideas are flowing. The energy is still there. The creative juices are still bouncing around. What was that thing? Girl, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about, Rena. We don't want to replicate that feeling. We're talking about positive things that made you not want to eat. Okay, something positive about you. So you talking about somebody else right now. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what makes you so excited doing it that you didn't care about eating or looking at your phone. That was, number one. And number two, it was so exciting and wonderful and thrilling for you that you couldn't sleep even when you laid down because your mind was still racing. You were still like, great. Okay, so write these things down, you guys. All right, now we move on to number three. Now we're going back to your childhood. Okay, now you're going to go back to when you was a little munchkin. Think about what you found to be exciting as a little child, a young child, and then as an adolescent, because a lot of times our tastes change, and then as a teen. So you might have, three different answers for, that part of your life until you reach, like adulthood. But think about the kinds of things that you found exciting during each of those phases of your life. What was it that you just loved to do? For me, it was gardening. We lived in San Francisco, but we had a big ass house, and then we had like a lot that went all the way back to the next street, which was rare in the city. So we had a double lot. And so we had a huge backyard. And when I got about, I don't know, 11 or 12, my parents let me pretty much take over the yard. So our swing set, we was too big for it. So my dad took the swing set out, and then I planted rows of vegetables. We kept a little patch with grass, but I planted rows of vegetables, and I planted flowers around the edges where the fence was. and it was just beautiful back there. Attracted butterflies and bees and all that stuff. That was my passion for years. In junior high and high school, I was out there every Saturday morning at the crack of dawn, weeding, planting, fertilizing, picking stuff, replanting stuff, and I would be out there for hours. And they didn't hear a peep out of me. That was my passion. Now, my passion isn't farming. But as I realized what each thing that I had in common was, it was starting something from nothing and building it into something beautiful. And so that's what I do. So, right, I start with words and I create books. I start with thoughts, I create videos. I start with people who are hurting and I create whole and happy, successful women that are ready for a new relationship. Take ingredients and I create masterpiece vegan dishes. So even though it was expressed in the form of seeds and mulch at 11 and 12, that theme carries through my life. That theme was a pattern that would show me what was going to bring me joy for the rest of my life, creating things from scratch. That's what I do. So, think about that. So, you'll see a pattern there. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Okay, so that's the thing. But childhood, early childhood, adolescence, and teen years, and write those things down because you will be looking at them in a little bit to notice a pattern. Okay. Anyone who just came in, what we're talking about today, this is the first in our series of living your best life. And what I'm doing is guiding the participants in this live stream through an exercise where they are going to try to discover what motivates them, what makes them happy, what is the key to their joy. And this is going to be used as the basis for them them developing and fine tuning what their purpose is. And then the next step, of course, will be to go out and live that purpose. So everyone has a purpose. Some people, though, are very lost and just off track and don't really know it. So they're just floundering around doing a bunch of stuff. But, eventually they're going to get old and they still won't have found their purpose. So that is something that we need to fix. And for very young women listening to this, they can beat this. They can get started on their path right now and be ahead of the game. All right. So that was point number three. Now we look at number four. What is it that you do that calms you and makes you feel good and makes you feel satisfied with yourself? Okay, what is that? For some people, it might be weight training, working out. For other people, I notice some people put cooking. Some people do needlework, crochet, knit, embroidery. Uh, I don't know what else people do. Um, some people paint, some people draw, um, macrame. I mean, whatever it is that you like to do, writing, so you would, write that down. Something that calms you, makes you feel good, and makes you feel satisfied with yourself. And even if it's something that does have to do with your children, I mean, you could write that too. I'm not going to eliminate that, but I just don't want that to be your sole source. That's my concern. Okay, so you write that down. Number five, what stokes your flames? What lights you up? What gets you just lit up with excitement? You just can't wait to do it, be it, go there, see it, experience it, whatever it is. What is it that you love to talk about? That's like point, A of five. Five and 5A. What is it that you love to talk about? Now, if you love, and I'm talking about what you feel, not what you think you should talk about, or don't worry about what other people might be bored hearing, this and that. This is about you right now. This is not about other people. What is it that you love to talk about, and what is it that you light up with excitement about? And put that down. Don't worry about what you're talented about, married to a Vitamix. If you like to paint, then that's what should be on your list. We're not talking about your talents because, people have talents in areas that they might not really love. They might do it. Like some people have talents as something, related to employment. And they do it because they get paid good money for it and they're good at it and, oh well. But is that what they love? No. They just do it because it pays the bills and they're good, they get rewarded for it because they have a certain level of skill at it. But that doesn't mean that they love it. This is about what you love right now, not what you have skill at. Okay, some people might love to cook and can't, everybody chokes and feel like they're gonna die eating their food, but that doesn't stop them from loving to cook. That's a bad example, but you know what I'm talking about. hmm All right, so you guys, just everybody's good. You love sewing? A little popcorn. I used to love to sew too. My sewing machine, I have a nice Bernina in it with a cabinet and everything. And I used to sew all my clothes in junior high. And I started sewing, really good when I was about 10 years old. And so as I got older, my mom taught me to sew. I wanted to make my clothes, so she would buy me the fabric and all the stuff. And I made everything except for my coats. They bought me those. But like I made shirts and pants and skirts and everything. It was so bad when I was in junior high. We had home ec, and one of the things was sewing, right? And they had you making some little A-line, funny looking skirt. And I had been sewing like way advanced from that. I was learning tailoring and shit like that, and I was, in the eighth grade, seventh grade. So we took this course, and so you're supposed to do so much, and then the teacher's supposed to check it. Well, I just sewed the thing like the second day of school. Mine was finished. And so the teacher got mad and she called my mother up to the school. And my mother looked at it and she said, "Do you realize that everything that she's been wearing, she's made herself?" And so the teacher was like, "What?" Because she had seen some of the stuff I had. It had like smocking and, all kind of stuff, box pleats. I could sew. And so you know, my mother took me out of that class. And, oh, yeah. Sewing is great. Sewing is great. It's very creative. You don't do nothing but make a pot holder. Whatever you want to do is you've made something and you can show it with pride. So that's what you do. What lights you up with excitement? What is it that you love to talk about? Those are question 5 and 5A. Now let's move on to question number 6. What is it that you love to learn about? Okay, this is your curiosity, your natural curiosity. You love to learn about it without being paid to do it, and even though there is no direct benefit from it. Okay, now this is important. That's why I framed it that way. Because people were like, well, I want to learn about blah, 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 because I can then apply for this promotion and I can do this and that, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about. See, then you're up here again. I want you to stay here. When you feel something, what is it that you love to learn about, even though you're not being paid to do it and it has no direct benefit to you other than bringing you joy? For me, it used to be anthropology. Believe it or not, when I was a little kid, I used to love, not anthropology, archaeology. I would go. We had this museum, and they had all this stuff like a dig. You could, did like a junior museum for kids, and they would, you could pretend like you was on a archaeological dig. And I learned all about Dr. Edward Leakey and finding the first humanoid, and this stuff. And I was little, like 9 or 10 years old. Oh my God, I thought that shit was so bomb. And people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an archaeologist. And then I learned that they be in the desert in sand and that it's hot. And I was like, oh, maybe not. But I was way older then. But at that point of my life, and that lasted for about 4 or 5 years, I couldn't think of any. I just wanted to read. I read every book at the San Francisco Public Library downtown about archaeology that was, at my reading level. I went, I did, that was my thing. That was my thing. I'm telling you. I still know a whole bunch of shit about archaeology that is of absolutely no use to me at all unless I went on a game show. I guess I might find some use for it then. But it was just fascinating to me. All the stuff that they would dig up and, inside pyramids and, in jungles and in volcanoes and all this stuff. I mean, this shit still fascinates me, as you can see. So, you have to find something like that. What is it that's in you that you just can't get enough of? You just want to read about it. You want to hear about it. You want to go to lectures about it. You want to hear, things on NPR about it. I mean, you listen to YouTube videos about it. What is it that you have that you are just so engrossing for you, but you don't get no benefit from it? Not really, but you still love it. Okay. Then we move on to number 7. What do you love to teach other people? Stay out of your head. Don't say, "Well, I love to teach. I love to tutor because I get $35 an hour." No, that's in your head. We're talking about what is it that you love to teach. What do you feel like that you want to share because it's so exciting and so wonderful and so joyful? You want people to understand how they can love this too, or at least appreciate it. Think about that. Think about that. I said, let's see, Deb, oops, I rolled up. I missed it. I said, Deb, you're making me think about how a lot of people can't find their purpose because they haven't been exposed too much. I know it's in the heart, but exposure is important. Well, yes, it is. It is. You have to think about, you have to let yourself uh, be open, be open to stuff. Because I remember, like, I saw this show one time. I don't remember why I was watching it. Some kind of show about kids, some people teaching kids in some inner city school or something. And this guy had this idea to teach a cooking class to the students, right? These are like, I mean, this school was like in the deep, deep, deep hood, like where you got broken windows and, I mean, it was bad when they showed the neighborhood. So this person comes in and they got these little hood kids and stuff, and he set them up like it was a real kitchen. They got people to donate used equipment. They set everything up in the school. It was fascinating. I watched the whole program because see, this guy, that was his purpose. That's what he felt that he needed to do to expose these children to what they could be. So he had like this whole program. They had to like learn how to do all these different knife cuts and stuff, and how to what the different names, julienne, what that meant, and how to saute and lightly brown and all of okay, he taught them all these cooking techniques, right? And two of the kids in that program went on to become professional chefs. And it was not until he exposed them to this that they even knew they had that talent or knew they had that interest and knew that that was what was going to light them up. Cooking. Black kids, hood rat kids, whose parents probably, their idea of fine dining was like Denny's. But these kids went on to do fabulous, amazing things and went to Europe to do them. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about. Finding your purpose. And the main thing was they weren't afraid to do it. Because a lot of the kids they interviewed them, well, why did you apply to, be in this class and stuff? And they're like, that's all that kind of stuff. And we're putting it down and mocking it. Whereas these kids were brave enough to go, forward and try something new. So that is true. What she pointed out is part of exposure, but it's like you have to be willing to expose yourself, even if the things don't drop in your lap. Like they were kids at school, it fell in their lap. But as an adult, you can go out and you got a car, you got a bus pass, you got money, you got a job. You can make shit happen that a child can't. A child has to wait for things to happen to them. As an adult, you can go make it happen yourself. Okay? So let's talk about that. Okay, so what is it you love to teach others? Okay, so you guys know what do you love to teach others? Are you a good musician? You can teach others about music, or are you just gonna talk to them a lecture about like a music appreciation type of class? You don't play an instrument, but you play the music for them and explain the music and talk about how it, derived and this and that, blah blah blah, what it meant to the artist. I mean, you get them into their heart about this music. That's good stuff. Okay, number 8. What would you do with yourself and your time, and this is very important. Now, you're going to get into your heart. Just close your eyes and think about it. What are you going to do with yourself and your time, or what would you do rather with yourself and your time if you could do anything in the world and money was not an obstacle? Money wasn't even a factor at all, as in you don't know how much you're going to make or how much you're going to spend to make this happen. But what would you want to do? Anything in this world. Write down three things. What you'd want to do. Whatever it is. Come on. Be open. Be brave. Don't, and nobody's gonna see this but you unless you type it in the chat room. So don't feel like you'll be mocked or anything. Just feel it. What's in your heart? What is it that you want to do, experience, be? Just what is it when you close your eyes and let your heart wander? What is your heart calling for? That's what you need to write down. Okay? You want to see things in the world, experience other cultures and people, dance to different kind of music. Understand that feeling. I have that too. That wanderlust, where your heart just yearns for the new, to bond and to meet and to interact with people that are different from you and to share your story. Travel, sleep, and write. That's what's in your heart, Princess of Darkness. Somebody must be sleep deprived. Yeah, you're trying to keep from thinking too hard. That it is very hard, but that's why I'm telling you, you don't have to do it right now. That's why I stress. Don't feel pressure to do it this very moment. I'm just giving you the things that I want you to think about. Okay, you want you to feel. You put them in on a piece of paper, and when you're in a calm and moment, you pull that paper out, and then you close your eyes, lay back, get into a relaxed meditative position, and then let your heart flow. Let it flow. Okay. Uh, let's do number 9. What types of things do you spend money on? Now, this requires you to, take a look around your house, your environment, your office, whatever. What kind of things are important to you that you spend money on? This becomes a big deal. I don't, nothing shit important to me I have to spend money on other than, what I'm doing now because this is what I spend money on is supporting my dream. But as far as like a fancy car, furs and blingage and all that stuff, I don't care about none of that. That's like irrelevant to my experience of human connection. I don't need a diamond ring and diamond bling and all this stuff, a fancy car, $50,000 vehicle to connect to you and to your heart. I don't need that. I just need this and this to do that. Somebody want to sing at a small supper club? Oh, wouldn't that be exciting? I would love to be in that audience. Okay, I'm seeing some good stuff here. You guys have a lot of things that you want to do. Have you ever really talked about this stuff with anyone? Is this something you've been somewhat maybe afraid to broach? The reason I asked that, I was talking about this with a young lady today, and she expressed that to me. That she was telling me some stuff. We were talking about this topic, and she said that she was hesitant to talk about her dreams with many people because instead of them listening to what her dream was, they wanted to start interjecting their suggestions for how she could do it or do it better according to them. But okay, that's not her dream, that's yours. So, and I told her, how I do like some she was saying how somebody was wanting to start a business with waist beads or something. Now, I know a lot about starting businesses and, internet and all this whole stuff. But still, I said, does she have a Facebook page for her business? And she didn't know. But then, that's when she hit me with how people want to come at you and, start telling you what to do kind of stuff. And I said, well, notice that's how I asked it. I didn't say she should get a Facebook page. I asked if she already has one. Because if she already has one, then I don't need to suggest that. She's already doing what she needs to be doing. Because, Facebook has that marketplace. And so she could do that and, sell her stuff right on Facebook. She could do Etsy. She could, develop her own website and put a shopping cart in there. She could do, set up the thing where they do, like waist bead parties or something. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like Tupperware parties, that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know how she wants to structure it. I don't know nothing about waist beads. I'm just talking off the top of my head. But it's just an idea. If this is her passion, if what she wants to do is sell these and model these and make these, then she, find a way to do that in a way that gets your name out there and gets people to enjoy the products that you create and let your heart talk to them about the product that you have for them and share that excitement with them. You spend money on books, that's good. hmm And once you've read a book and you get tired of it, you can always donate it or you can sell them. They have those book places where you can sell books by the pound. I did that. I had so many. Oh my God. I had like 5 carloads full of books and still have books in my storage. I got tired of taking them there. And they give you money by the pound. I mean, I already read the books like 10 times each. I didn't need them anymore. But and I was like, oh, let me get rid of this shit because it's hard. You when you move like that, when you move, you pay by the weight. So I'm like, okay, I'm not paying to move all these books. So I sold them. Use some of that money to help pay the moving costs. Okay, so that's what you spend money on. How do you feel when you spend the money? That's important too. How do you feel? Do you feel guilty? Or do you feel like, yes, this is going to be great? I can't wait to get home and see this and read this and watch this and touch it and put it on my wall or, whatever's your thing. I can't wait. And you're filled with excitement, right? So it could be music, it could be books, it could be DVDs, it could be, like I said, art pieces. I mean, what is it? Cookbooks, I mean, whatever. For me, it's like cooking utensils. I have a kitchen full of shit. It's ridiculous. I don't even have room to put all the stuff. I had to put some of this in my storage unit downstairs. It's like unbelievable how many kitchen gadgets I have, but I love kitchen stuff. Just love it. Excites me. I like to do, use it, find recipes to use my latest gadget. It's just crazy. But that's me. Okay. Yeah, you guys could have a duet. That would be so cute. Okay, number 10. What is it that other people are doing? Now, becomes another thing. This is kind of the flip side because a lot of times, you're not thinking about what you want to do. You looking outside and you looking at somebody else doing something that you secretly wish you could do. They have something you secretly wish you could have. Okay, what is that? Identify that thing. Something that somebody has it, somebody does it, something and you wish that that were you. What is that thing? What is that? You love to touch hardcover books? Girl, they so expensive. Oh, like, oh. You have good books and makeup? Okay. So when you think about the good book and the makeup, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? What does the makeup make you feel when you use it, when you look at it? That's something to think about. Do you want to use that makeup to like, help other people look better? People who are insecure and stuff and feel like they don't look that great. You have a talent or skill with it, or are you just talking about using it on yourself? What? All right, I got two more things here because I made a list of 12 things. What is it that other people appreciate about you? Now, this is important because a lot of times people get on a track and they think that they're on their passion, they're on their passion track. They're they think they're doing something and they're not sure or they start feeling a little discouraged. And then somebody comes along and tells them what an impact they had on them. Okay, like remember, like I said, my whole this is just my opinion now. I'm not saying this is gonna be everybody's opinion, everybody's gonna agree with me. I feel like our passions and the best use of them are in service to others. Our goal, I think, as human beings on this planet is to work together to make the world a better place for others. That's what I think. So that those who have more help those who have less. And that, there's a benefit to everything. There's a yin and a yang where everything fits together. And that's just my opinion of it. So I think those of us who have more knowledge, who have more experience, who have more money, who have more skills, who have more power, whatever, our role as a human is to bring that to a position where it helps those who don't have it. Okay, that's the yin and the yang. Of course, a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that, like I said, that is my belief system. So if you are a person that has certain knowledge and skills and talents and abilities, and you love what you're doing, you love it so much that you want to share it with other people so that they can love it too, or at least learn to appreciate it, and bring them along and help them reach their goals and help them find their passions and all the stuff, then you're on the right track. Okay, so they come and they tell you that they appreciated what you do. I remember this letter one time I wrote this in a Vice letter. Oh, it was years ago. This young lady was caught up in some major bullshit, right? And I told her about herself, and I didn't use profanity or anything like that, but I told her, what she was doing was silly, and I told her what she needed to do. And one of the things was get back in school, stop dealing with this knucklehead dude she was dealing with, get her finish getting her degree, do some traveling, focus on herself. She was all focused on him, and to her detriment, dude was just dragging her. And her self esteem was beat. I mean, it was just an awful thing. It was an awful letter to read. It's awful. And she was like 22 years old. And so she was mad, boy, because she goes, "You don't bitch, you old bitch, you this and that and that and that." And she was cussing me out and calling me all kind of, freak. I mean, it was bad, okay? But, I just let it go. 5 years later, she wrote me and she said, "Do you remember I was the one who this and that?" And she related the scenario. And then she said, "And then I wrote you back and I was cussing you out. I was this and that." And so as she wrote, I said, "Oh, yeah, I do remember that." But I used to get cussed out all the time in those days. So it was like that part was a blur. She had to remind me what she wrote about. Then she wrote several paragraphs of how she finally got out the letter and read it like a year after I wrote it, gave it to her. And then she started following the suggestions that I had given her, one by one, check, check, check kind of thing. And she was telling me how much I changed her life, and she told me what she's doing now, the great job that she has. She got a degree. She was going back for her master's. How she had taken my suggestion. She's gone on a cruise. She traveled. She was looking forward to going to Europe with her friends. And she was, this girl's her attitude, everything was completely different. You could just feel it in the words that she used. And she told me, how much of a blessing I was to her, and she apologized for, how she had, came back me and all this stuff. But it's when I kept that letter, that email for a long time, and that kind of stuff. That's why I do what I do. It's not like I'm looking for people to come and say this all the time, but that's how you know that you're on the right track. When people tell you, "I wish I had met you sooner. You've changed my life. I hated what you said to me, but you're right. You changed my life. You helped make me a better person. You helped me get over that pain. You helped me protect myself from getting hurt. Blah blah blah." Those are the things. When I get those kind of comments back, I know for a fact that I am doing the right thing, and I've always felt this was my purpose. But then when people validate it and say, that you have indeed done what you set out to do, then you really know that you're on the right track and you can keep moving forward with confidence and without missing a beat, without wavering. And that's what I want you guys to do. So, the first step is you got to find what it is that you love, and then you got to start doing it. That's the next step. So, then the last point that I have, point number 12. So, this is point 12 ways for you to work on finding your purpose and living your best life. Did you suffer something in some way? Because, what have you suffered? Let's talk about that. You suffered something in some way. You've been hurt in a way that could be used to help other people heal. Now, a lot of women, they talk about the childhood sexual abuse that they've experienced, the neglect that they experienced, what they experienced in a foster, living in a foster care, situation. Um, Being neglected by their parents, or their parents being drug addicts or something. I mean, all kinds of stories people have in their life that they've overcome. So if that is you and you feel like you have valuable information and valuable tips for survival and techniques that you use that work, why would you not share that with somebody? You are just like an expert walking. Who's going to be able to reference it better than someone who has lived it? And that would be you. They're going to bond to you because you've been through what they do. They know that you understand. Their heart is in ears and head and brains and thoughts and all that stuff, everything. It's going to be, able to sync with you because they know that you get them. You have a unique way to touch people's hearts. And, but it takes courage. I mean, you have to be willing to, expose your story and all of this. Some people aren't. But if you are and you think that it would help other people, please, step up. Do that for them. Aren't these amazing, Brittany? They some amazing ladies. I'm trying to tell you. I don't know what I must be living right some kind of way, even though I cuss people out every time I think about it. So I'm doing something right because they came here. They found me. And they've been hanging tough ever since. I'm telling you, sometimes you just gotta feel blessed. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm glad I did it. Okay. Now, my final thoughts on this, as you finish this exercise and you've written all these things down, look at what it is and see if there's a common theme there. Like I said, I explained, I use myself as an example from the gardening to the cooking to the writing the books, everything. It comes from taking something from nothing and creating an end product that is valuable for mankind. Okay, that was my thing. That was what I started on that path, 10, 11 years old. So you think about that and look really hard and see if you see a pattern from all these different things that you've written down. All right. If you see there's a common theme, then you start thinking about, okay, how can I transfer those things into actionable items that I use as an adult? Because remember, we went back to like grade school, right? We did young child, we did adolescent, we did teens, we've done adults. We went through your whole life, everything that you like, everything that you feel, everything that's like made you excited about getting up in the morning. Okay, so you guys have to really go and do some thinking. Like, I do not expect that you got through all of this in a complete form the way, in this, what, hour or so that we've been here. I don't expect that at all. What I mainly wanted you to do was to write down the questions. Of course, you can feel free to listen to this video as many times as you need to. Write down each question. Make sure you get, my explanations included in case you're doubtful about what I meant. I tried really hard to explain each thing in detail as I went further on. But I think the main thing is once you do all that and you decide that this is where your heart's taking you, this is where your feet gonna follow your heart, right? So you're gonna do this thing. It becomes then a real battle for most of you. That's when the fight starts because you're gonna be battling yourself and you're gonna be battling other people who are the naysayers and the haters who are gonna try to rain on your parade. Please be strong. If you need some strength, please come to this chat and borrow some from us, okay? Because these ladies been through some shit too. And we all like together, you need some energy, you need some propping up, you need to, you feeling doubtful about yourself, you need somebody to give you a little, you can do it kind of thing. Just pop on in the chat. We're here several times a week and get the strength that you need and then go out and then make some shit happen. Okay, as my famous phrase is, make the magic happen. And so you're gonna hear things. You're gonna you're gonna start on your path, and people are gonna be trying to derail you. That's what they do because they haven't found theirs, and they're jealous. Okay, so just think about it from that perspective. Do not stop. Do not stop. If it's something that makes your eye, you go to sleep at night thinking about that shit, and you wake up in the morning thinking about that shit. That's what you need to do. Okay. Oof. Let me see. I'm talking so much. That's your dream, and that's where your heart is. Let me see if I got one more note here. Okay, and then my last one, which I wrote in hand, is when can you stop talking about it and start doing it? That's a Deborah Cooper thing. I mean, we're gonna talk about it first because I have to talk about it. Nobody's here's a mind reader, but I get tired of talking. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Come on, ladies. I want to see some action. And by I say the first quarter of next year, I want y'all to come back here and I want you to report back to me on what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna give you some time because it's the holidays. People are busy. You're distracted. All this shit's going on. People's relatives gonna start flying in and taking over their homes in another day or two, week or so. So you got some time. That's why I said I didn't want you to don't rush this. Take your questions that you have and just let them marinate in your spirit. Do not get up here. feel. This is very important because you don't find your purpose in your head. Your purpose is your heart. It's driven completely by your heart. And can't emphasize that point enough. You got to trust, and you got to trust it too. Don't second guess yourself. All right? That's very important. We just got to figure out, how you can make your this dream a priority, and if there's something you need, you might need to think about because you might have to put some stuff in place, some licenses or permits or whatever you might need to do, rent a place. I mean, you know what I mean? There may be some thinking involved at the end of it. But at right now, where we're still trying to find what your purpose is, you are here. You're all in your heart. Don't start thinking and second guessing yourself and berating yourself and doubting yourself. Please don't do that. All right? So, this is just the first of this series, like that's in the intro, for finding your best life. I was already on that track when I made that. That was what, months ago now. But it's finally coming to fruition. We are going to be doing several of these types of shows over the coming months where it's more like a webinar than it is a lecture, discussion or something. It's more like a webinar style thing that I do. Um, but I really want to thank all of you for coming because this was such a last minute thing. But it was in my spirit to talk about, and so here we are. I also want to invite you. I'm going to try to come back tomorrow, but if not, I might have to skip tomorrow. But I will definitely be back then by Friday, and we'll get together for Friday fuckery and talk about. We'll be back on talking about some crazy relationship issues because I got plenty of them, and then we'll see what happens over the weekend as well. Okay, you guys are great as always. I am truly a blessed individual to have you in my lives. In my life, I really appreciate everybody being here, and I think that, we got some great things planned. If you have ideas for the show, please email your ideas to survivingdating@gmail.com. If you want to send in your advice question, you can do that at the top of the channel on YouTube or on survivingdating.com. Just click the button that says Get Advice and submit your question that way. All right, I'll see y'all later. Go out and have a good time and, you know, love yourself the way that you need to be loved. Don't depend on other people to do it. It starts with you. Deb Cooper, signing out.